o'clock, I would like to call the council meeting to order. If you could all stand for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. If you could turn and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Clerk, would you call the roll call of council persons?
Lehman.
Present.
Kodak. Cassidy.
Present.
Baker.
Present.
Hall.
Here.
Mendoza.
Here.
Lake.
Here.
Mr. Podak did reach out to me and say he was not going to be here this evening.
Motion to excuse.
Second.
We have a motion by Cassidy, a second by Mendoza to excuse Councilperson Podak. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Cassidy.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Lake.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
All right, minutes of the previous meeting. If we could have a motion to approve the virtual minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mendoza, second by Lehman for the approval of the virtual minutes. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Baker.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
Lake.
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
They are approved. Any communications this evening?
I have none, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Report of committees, Finance Committee.
There is nothing new to report, although I will remind you that we will meet next Tuesday, June 18th, 2 weeks from today, at 5:30 in council chambers.
All right, thank you very much. Public Affairs Committee.
There are quite a few events to announce coming up over the next 2 weeks. First, join Calico Charlie's, Candy, and more for some interactive children's stories and activities during their Frog Story Time this Saturday, June 8th at 2 p.m. Next, the Fostoria Community Arts Council will be hosting Lunch on the Lawn Wednesday, June 12th from noon to 1 on the front lawn of the municipal building, featuring live entertainment from Scott Hedden and food service provided by Fostoria Pizza Palace. The Fostoria Community Arts Council will also be hosting the summer concert series at Foundation Park, starting with the Fostoria Community Band on Sunday, June 16th from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Off the Beaten Path Summer Community Concert Series will begin on Friday, June 14th from 6 to 10 p.m. in the alley between 113 and 115 South Main. The Urban Woody Brewery Summer Concert Series will begin on Saturday, June 15th at the Green Space with live music and food trucks from 3 to 10 p.m. Also on June 15th, the City of Fostoria will be hosting a tire collection event alongside OSS Solid Waste District. For additional information and to register, please call the Mayor's Office Administrator at 419-435-8282, extension 103. And finally, but certainly not least, I'm very excited to announce that the first annual Juneteenth Jamboree of Greater Fostoria will be held at Foundation Park on Saturday, June 15th from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. This is a free event you will not want to miss. It is open to the public, will be held rain or shine, family friendly, and in a safe environment that promotes diversity, equality, and inclusion. It will honor history and celebrate freedom with food, including a rip-off competition, live entertainment, children's activities, merchant booths, and more. On behalf of the City of Fostoria, I sincerely thank Devon Cousin for seeing this through and making it possible. Please help spread the word and plan to bring your friends and family with you to this wonderful community get-together. Your attendance will strengthen the opportunity to make this event successful and impactful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Law and Ordinance Committee.
The Law and Ordinance Committee will meet again on Tuesday, June 18th at 5:15 here in council chambers.
Thank you. Reports to the Mayor, Director of Public Service and Safety.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You can see the mayor's not here tonight. He's recuperating from, he's doing well. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the appropriations that are on your agenda tonight. That has to do with, we had budgeted for slight bump in our property and vehicle insurance, and it was more than anticipated, and some of that was due to our property values went up, and we have more employees. So that is the reason behind asking for the bump in appropriations to pay our bill for the insurance for this year. And then out at Foundation Park, the pad for the recycling, the new recycling area for cardboard and plastic and that kind of thing is now poured. And we're looking forward to getting the cameras up and getting all the lights up that we need. And then the bins can come and we can get started with the recycling that we've been talking about through the help from OSS. And then finally, I think something that you can add to your report, Amy, is that our fireworks night will be July 6th at Foundation Park. Expect to have a lot of the things that people have come to like out there, the talent show beforehand. Talked to Stephen Castillo a little bit about organizing some food trucks out there for the night, and then talent show will then lead into fireworks out there at Foundation Park. So look forward to all that. So that's all I have for right now. I should have any other questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director of Law.
Thank you. I handed out to everyone the current ordinances regarding the duties and kind of descriptions of the clerk of council. I just thought that might be a little helpful because I believe we were planning on speaking, kind of discussing that during miscellaneous. So I just thought that would be helpful for you guys to see what's already on the books so you can compare. And other than that, I have nothing to report.
There's a chance that the job description might be redundant to add, or do you think it's a beneficial thing to have?
Well, so that would be up to you guys. I kind of provided the ordinances because I didn't know if you were wanting to change the job requirements, the job duties, and actually put it in the codified ordinances, or if you wanted to make it a little less formal and just put it in a resolution. Or if you look at what's already in the codified ordinances, it already states that the clerk of council shall perform such other duties as council from time to time may direct. So it kind of already covers anything else that may come up. So I guess I just provided this to you guys to aid in your discussion.
Good stuff to ponder, and we can have
Yes,
discussion
exactly.
miscellaneous. Awesome, thank you. All right, we move into the public portion of the meeting. We have 3 people who requested time for speaking. According to the according to the charter, each group will have 10 minutes to speak, followed by a regular public session, which I'll give more instructions for at that point. The first group up is Jesse Cano, representative of Superior Energy Solutions. So if you'd like to approach the microphone, and please speak into the microphone.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, for having us, and Council for your time this evening. So my name is Neil. My counterpart, Jesse, is right here, and we're with Superior Energy Solutions out of Kalida, Ohio. Just a quick snippet about us. We've been in business for 15 years. It's pretty remarkable for a solar company. That's what we specialize in. Not solar farms, so that's not what we do is the big mega farms or anything, mostly for smaller scale homes, farms, and businesses. So reason specifically we requested to be into a meeting tonight is some of the new tax incentives that are available specifically for Seneca County and Wood County. Unfortunately not Hancock, but just wanted to make sure the council was aware of that. And that allows a lot of, again, farms and businesses to qualify for up to 90% savings for tax and grant incentives. So we've just been seeing some big upticks, especially over this way, and wanted to make sure people were aware of that, of what's available, especially, again, right here. Again, not advocating for using up good farm ground, just mostly finding ways to use maybe unusable space like ground that can't be used or flood ground possibilities, even floating solar panels for some wastewater treatment facilities, like, for example, Lima is doing right now. And again, even parking lot cover is another good option. So just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of that. There's been a couple of projects we've worked on where it's a collaboration effort between local investors or local businesses who can really take advantage of the tax incentives that a municipality or government may not qualify for. And a lot of times they're able to kind of collaborate, get that tax advantage. You know, they've got the green initiative that they might advocate for, and then it allows a community to have a lot less lower rate of their electricity. Besides that, again, just want to make sure everybody was aware, and if there's any questions, just wanted to let everyone know where we are in Calida, and just want to be a local advocate if there's anything we could ever do for you guys.
Thank you very much. Next up on the agenda, Deb Tyson.
Hello, Deb Tyson, 800 Woodward Avenue, Lot 9. I wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak. I have been very busy on the phone, and some people go out of their way. Other people do not. They don't, but they miss it. And I've actually spoke to people I didn't even know I would be speaking to. It was very interesting and informative. But I have something to share, and it regards Peria. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's that bee thing that Wind Waste is trying to put with their pond. Anybody can Google. Um, it's going to be Aperia Columbus landfill. Them three words must be together when you Google it. It's going to come up with 5 different things. One is going to be an actual landfill. Another is going to be something like OSS. And another is going to be just about the bees. And speaking of that, the bee man and me, of course, are on speed dial. And he plans to go to June 20th meeting that is in Washington Township in Arcadia at 106 Gibson Street. It's to find out whether or not their zoning will pass and let Wind Waste have their 96-acre pond with their 14-acre apiaria or not. And he asked if he could come, and I said, if it's public, you can come. And I reached out to one of the wives of one of the people that's on the thing, and she's like, yeah, he can come. So, like I said, you ask always and conduct yourself good. I have had some bad things with social media, so I choose, hopefully, yeah, things can be on social media like events, which I really appreciated knowing about the events coming up. But I think that we need to have a way for those of us that want to stay away from it, because I'm getting harassed right now, and I didn't put out there to follow. So I just want to make Fostoria a better place, do my part, and I think you guys are, even if you're working behind the scenes, I'm still seeing the progress. So that's what I came to say tonight. Anybody wants me to elaborate about anything, I can do that, but yeah, I did want to share about that. And I did also do research on Lowry property, and I was only able to secure 5 pages, which is 3 parcels, but there's 24 pages to the document. And I cannot get the other 19 pages, whether it's because I don't have Wi-Fi in a computer or because somebody's blackballed me, I don't know. But I'm happy for the pages I got, and knowing that there's 19 pages out there that has some kind of information on it, maybe somebody can find it. And that's what I came to share.
Thank you, Deb. The last person on our agenda is Renee Vogelsong.
Renee Vogelsong, 702 East High Street. I want to say, first off, thank you to the fire department. Something happened today. One of our carbon monoxide detectors started beeping, constantly beeping. We thought, oh no, there's something going on. and to find out the other one on the other end of the house isn't. We put it down there, it didn't. Arnita took it out to the firehouse and they checked it. Sure enough, it was faulty. And so, okay, fine, we was gonna go buy one. They said, oh no, here. They gave us, that wasn't expecting that. We just wanted to have it checked, if what better place to have it checked there. And, cause it's the plug-in. Thank you to the firehouse. The other thing is, I brought it up at the last meeting about being out there a little bit more. I don't know whether you guys has actually got to be able to talk about it or not, but there's been a couple people online that people could actually see. Hey, who do I talk to about this? Who's my council ward? We got to go and show them where to go. It would really mean a lot, I think, to all the citizens if somehow y'all can, like you said, you don't like to use social media for the question and answering to do something, but to get out there who you are, what zones you're in, what wards you're in, it'd mean a lot to the citizens, I'm sure. They would know where to go. They would know, and that's on the web page. And it's got one phone number to call. That phone number goes to the mayor's office. I believe it's also your secretary's office that answers that one. It don't give you the different extensions anymore to call zoning or to call other areas. It don't do that anymore. At least it didn't when I tried it. You call that, the only number that's on there is for the mayor's office. And so that might be something you might want to look into on how do we get a hold of the different departments. And I had a lot more to talk to, but I had a nice conversation with Eric and the zoning yesterday, and it answered a number of the questions that I was going to bring up. But I do still have a couple things about the food unit ordinance that you're, I believe, going to pass tonight. I wish you wouldn't until you reword it. One of the main things on rewording is when you read that, and Mayor Manel said that, no, it's not the $250 per unit or per vendor. It's the $250 per organizer on special events. Read that ordinance. It don't say that. It does not say per organizer. It says it's a $250 deposit. And right above that, they're talking about per units. That's where all this hufflow's coming from. And that's where these, I don't have a food truck. I utilize them. I don't have one. But it'd be nice to see the right thing, because I already know of 2 food trucks that was coming into town that is not no more because of what's being passed. They don't really understand it all. And after my conversations yesterday, I understand a lot more of it than I did. But it took a little bit more in-depth talking to find out, especially zoning, where that was going and what it's doing. But that, if you guys could table that and reword it before you do the 3rd reading and pass, it would do a lot for the city, I'm telling you. It's going to do a lot. It's just like how it words about the private property. I know with our conversations in both parts that it's got nothing to do with the private property. When you read that ordinance, it does. It's in the ordinance where it does, the ordinance does have to do with the private property part, other than just the permit. So that's something that really needs to be looked at super hard before you guys do the final say tonight. Because you got to remember, you guys are the one passing it. You guys are the ones that's doing it right here. So what's the citizens say? All right, we're losing food trucks here. We're going to have to go to Tiff, and we're going to have to go to Finley, or we're going to have to go out of town to get to the ones we like. That's not cool. Let's work for our people here in town. Let's work for them, please. And another thing is, if you'd really look at rewording some of the ordinances to clean up the actual owner residing properties, don't keep in your head about the rentals. The rentals, a lot of them are cleaned up. A lot of them are nice looking. There's a heck of a lot of them was built for people that purchased for just material wise, that, you know, they look pretty shabby. So I guess, the other things I pretty much had my answers for, so I appreciate the time. And me and my little buddy will go back and sit down.
Renee, hold on 1 minute. Mr. President, may I address?
Sure.
Renee, just to address some of your concerns with the mobile food unit ordinances. So the portion about the $250 deposit, that's specifically regarding the special events. So that's only when there's a
Right.
special event permit. And it clearly says the applicant. So just the applicant for the special event has to pay that deposit, not each individual unit, which is kind of
It
specified.
blends in.
Sorry.
It all blends in together. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
It's hard to read for the layman person to.
I get that.
That's where I'm saying. That's where they're coming to me.
It's just if you look, you just kind of have to look at
Right.
the heading. So like letter D is mobile food unit special event permit. So after that, the 1, 2, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, 2E, and yeah, all of those fall under the special event permit. So those only apply for special events. And same with the private property, that's also just for special events. There's nothing else in the ordinance that prohibits individual vendors from operating on private property. It's just the special events.
They just have to have their standard vendor's license and their
Correct.
standard license that you'd have to have anything else
Yeah,
for.
just to ensure safety.
Right,
of,
right.
Of the citizens. Yes.
And if you don't mind me asking back and forth, why is it, and that's the other thing that was brought to me, was why is the city of Fostoria need to be as part of the insurance on the
Because if you're operating on our property and based on a permit that we give you, the city, we don't want to become liable for any damage, illness that would result from any sort of improper use of that unit.
right. But is that any different than a regular restaurant? Because do they have to have it? It's just it is a thing, you know. I mean, it was false because they still have to have the health department. Okay.
Sure.
You know, I don't want to go in and have a chicken sandwich and end up being sick for a week or two or a few days, you know. But
Yep.
I understand where they got to be licensed and regulated. But I was just,
It's pretty typical, and if you look at food unit ordinances throughout the state of Ohio, it's a typical requirement.
but I still say, just like Mr. Pollux had said before, you know, is you need clarity. It needs to be clear and to keep the public from an uproar over it. You know, you need to be able to explain to them, you know, so.
Sure, which is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah,
When people ask questions, we explain it to them. We
I
clarify.
appreciate it. And if they'll listen to the camera.
Yep.
So,
Thank
all
you.
right, thank you.
At this time, we'll go into the general public portion of the meeting. Again, according to the charter, anyone that has the right to speak, we ask that you state your name for the record and limit yourself to 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Jill Filiator, 402 West Culbertson Street. I have a brief thing, but I want to do a piggyback on this conversation with the mobile units. I too think that you probably need to put it on hold, not for regards to the information on the unit, but what is a special event? We still have on that ordinance, Main Street cannot be used for food trucks. It's in there. I saw the paperwork. You haven't adapted that yet. So in essence, is a special event when we have the food trucks out for the chop out there in front. Is that a special event? Is it a special event for when in the Axe is having the food trucks out on Main Street? For when Mike uses off on Tiffin Street? What is considered a special event? When a non-pro is doing a farmer's market or something like that, is that considered a special event if we're blocking the streets down and we're having food vendors? It's not very clear, and clarity is what needs to be done. The way it's written right now, it's very ambiguous and it's very subjective. So some people might get the benefit of not having to have a special event, while other individuals might, and there's no set clarity. So please read your ordinances. I noticed that you guys did have the ordinances reviewed and done and did the extra costs. And I noticed in the form where have you all read them yet? Because some of them still have some issues with them. There were some excessive changes that need to be done in those ordinances because some of them hadn't been looked at in many, many years. So if you look at some of them, as I did, you'll see that some of them still have some issues that need to be clarified. So that's my concern on that one. But the reason I'm here today is I'm here today to talk about the splash pad and my one concern. I hope I can get your undivided attention for just a second. Per the financial recovery plan on December of 2022 for 2023, I do have just a couple concerns. I do not see the one for 2024 yet. It's not been posted yet. But when you look at the one that the recovery plan dated December 20th, 22 for 2023, there's two headers in here that I think you need to be paying attention to. Of course, the number 14 says the city did not operate the pool starting in 2017 and will not restore operations until there are sufficient resources to do so. Operations not expected to restore through 2027. That makes common sense. 24. The city will obtain a grant to acquire a splash pad. The improvement will be purchased with grant proceeds and donations received. If the grant and donations are not received, the splash pad will not occur. It says completion date of 12/31/2023. I anticipate that the one that we're seeing for 2023 December for the 2024 had an extension, but I don't know because I haven't seen it yet. My concern is based on, and I didn't know this, I'm not a media person. I do not respond to media. I go through the proper channels also, but when it's posted, you read it. I noticed that there was a proposal posted for the splash pad, and it was dated for April. And if you noticed on it, and everybody should have seen it because as council, you guys made the decision on this splash pad because there was no park and rec involvement in it on the committee based on what we're reading. So it says here splash pad was for the one bid was $417,000 and some change. And the related work was a little over 600,000. So the restroom, which was the additional thing that they were talking about if we had raised more money. So you add $400,000 for the pool house, the bathroom, which wasn't part of that original concept, took us over our limit. We're now at 1.4 mil. I don't quite understand. When we were told we were looking at just a splash pad, and then if it got better, we would expand it. We went ahead and had drawings made for the bigger project, knowing that we might not make the budget. So we paid for a project to be done, and it's not being done right now. We're back to ground zero. And if we don't have extensions on all these grants, is all the hard-earned money that the people of Fostoria raised go back to a general fund or to something else? That's the question I'd like the council to be able to explain to me and us as the citizens. If this doesn't come through based on how this thing reads, what happens to that money? Does it go back into a park and rec to do something with the park? Are we really going to get the pool? Based on what I'm seeing here, I have severe questions that the splash pad is not going to happen. And we as the citizens who have been raising the money to do this really need to know what's going on. So I'm bringing it to the council. You guys might not know what's going on. I don't know how invested you guys are in that portion, but you are the council. You represent us. So if you're not representing us because you don't even know what's going on with it, then we have a problem. And that's what my concern is that we are being told one thing and it's not coming through. Monies are there, but it's not being done. So that is my concern. I hope that you as the council will listen to what my concern is and actively be involved to take a look and to see, because without a park and rec committee, because you as the board, as a council, you guys turned it down. You guys repealed it. You, not the mayor, not safety service director. Every one of you here were the ones who said, we're not going to have a park and rec committee. We're just going to let safety service director in this city make the decisions without having the input. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
So let me ask that question for you.
Yes, sir.
We have a grant from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for $463,000 that pays for the bathhouse. We have $150,000 coming from the state of Ohio capital budget. We pledged $100,000 as the city. It was matched by the Greater Fostoria Community Foundation. There were donations that came to Vision 2020 from the public. And my understanding is you got to look at those books, even though you said that you were turned down for a FOIA request, but you still got to look at the books and got to see everything. And I hope you're satisfied. I hope you saw your donation in there and was happy that it was there, because I know mine was in there. And so if you add up everything that we had that was put toward the entire project, is right around $1.1 million, which is what we put the bid specs out for. And apparently there was some issue with how the bid specs went out. I'm not exactly sure. We're still studying exactly what the problem was, but the bid came in. The one bid we did receive came in higher than was anticipated. So we've gone back to look at the bid package and how it was put together. We think part of it was because when you demolish something as big as the pool and the bathhouse, you have to get materials put in there of the proper materials, and it has to be compacted so that you can build something on top of it. And we think maybe that's where the mistake came, and there was a misunderstanding amongst those that were going to be the bidders. And so we're re-examining all that. So there still is $1.1 million. The $460,000 ODNR grant is a reimbursable grant, as is the state capital budget. So those dollars aren't sitting anywhere. They're waiting for those to be activated by the actual project taking place. So it will, yes, be rebid once we can make sure that we can get it inside that $1.1 million or under project number that we have, because that's the monies that are available. And that's what we anticipate doing sometime later this summer.
Okay.
We're not
Thank you
having
for
a discussion.
Oh, I just wanted to thank you for your clarity. I know that I was told by Vision 2020 not to discuss that I was allowed to look at the numbers. That's all I'm saying, because there was some issues with those numbers. Thank you.
That's fine, but that money is there. The money has always been there. And we've had explained that before.
Anyone else from the public wish to address council? Come on up.
I look at I'm Kim Heckathorn, and I look at the 411 site and I see things, and you don't know if it's true or not. My question is, if that bid wasn't adequate, why are you going to wait till the end of the year to reopen bids and assess it?
No, I didn't say the end of the year. I said sometime this summer.
This summer?
Yes.
All these small communities have something for the children. I watch kids sitting in the heat today.
Yeah, we
All right,
certainly
we're not having a discussion.
certainly want
we're not.
things
We
for it.
won't.
But you can make a statement,
things
he can
are
make a
acceptable.
statement,
That's
but
why
we're not
trying
having a
to
discussion.
It's just that, why wasn't the bid open sooner when you found out that you weren't able to accept the bid that you got? What was the holdup?
We didn't know that the bid was over until the bids came in.
And how long of time span did you need for bids to come in? Was it a year, a
No,
season?
you're required to have, and I don't know the exact time for each one of the types of bids that are out there, but it has to be advertised for a certain amount of time. And sometimes that's up to 30 days. I'm not exactly sure what this one was, but it was put out for bid. We looked over the bid specs, and apparently what was put out there was not completely understood by the people that wanted to bid on the project.
Can you tell me when you knew that you wouldn't be able to accept their bid? When was that?
If you guys would like to continue the discussion, we
forget
can
it.
have it in the
Okay, just,
hallway,
no.
but we can make statements as the
Don't have
public.
to. We don't have to. Okay, I'm done.
Anybody else from the public wish to address council? Seeing none, we'll move into old business.
say something?
Come on.
I've just been informed that those bids came in April the 2nd of this year, in case anybody's interested in when they came in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I
Can you
think
state your
if
name
we
for the
could find
record?
a city council meeting where we reported that the bids
Eric, we're not
came in
having
and
a
the bid was
discussion.
over. I don't, no, there's people here that's gonna try to make us look bad, and that's not what I'm gonna have tonight. When we found out, we came to city council the very next meeting that after we found out and told you that the one bid that came in was over budget. We were gonna have to go back to the drawing board. And we did that in a city council meeting just after those bids came in the spring.
I'm just telling you what I've been.
I know what you're reading is out on the internet. It doesn't make it real. I know what the facts are, that we came in and said, unfortunately, we were very disappointed about the fact that we have to go back and re-examine the bid packet that went out, but the one bid that we got was over budget, and we had to go back and re-examine everything about the bid packet.
Well, this is signed by a Matt Leonard. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but
Chief
I
Estimator.
came here to this public body and told them that that one bid that we had was over budget, and we're gonna have to start and re-examine what the bid packet looked like and try to figure out what went wrong, and came right back here to this public body and told them that.
So the problem is lack of money? Is that the problem?
The problem was it was over the bid price that we had put together. And so we're re-examining what the bid specs was. Now, other projects we put out, we've had no issues with. We just did, we did several different bid packets.
Well, I'm
This
kind of
this
ignorant.
particular one was an issue. We just needed to look it over again.
I'm kind of ignorant. I don't know how business works, but let me ask you a question.
We're not having a big discussion.
I'm not arguing. I just
But
want
but you can come up and make statements as a member of the public. You can contact any member of council after a meeting, but
I just wonder why they, if you already had an estimate, how they could jump it up on you. Isn't there not
We-
something signed in the contract?
they had a surveyor's estimate of the project, a bid proposal estimate that was not a contractor to do the work. It was what an engineering firm thought it would cost to do that. The city raised that money.
Yes.
The bid went out. We had contractors bid. We had one contractor bid. It was way over that budget.
Yeah.
We can't just spend money that we have not budgeted for that we don't have.
Yeah.
So we are kind of at square one, as Mr. Keckler has said. We are examining the bid packet so it can be modified the way it needs to be to hopefully get a successful bid proposal that can make this project move forward.
So nobody else gave you a bid except the one person?
This one.
Yes.
And-
Thank you. All right, at this time, we will move into old business.
An ordinance amending section 745.04 and 745.05 of chapter 745 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fostoria, Ohio, entitled Mobile Food Units and Peddlers, Solicitors, and Itinerant Merchants respectively.
I'd like to move for discussion.
Perfect. We can just have discussion.
I just had a few questions. I'm thinking either the law director or safety service director could answer for me. The first is the safety service director has been replaced by the compliance officer throughout that for the amendment, except for where it's stated that the special event permit is to be obtained in the office of the safety service director. Should that be changed to compliance
because-
officer as well?
Because all event permits go through our website and it goes through Maddie, and then
Okay,
goes to either the mayor or service director to get it to everybody else to get it approved.
so that was my second question. So I saw on the website, the different forms available online.
Hmm.
One of the forms was an event permit. I didn't see any special event permits. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, I know the discussion, and I think did you have that with Jeff about the one permit form, having that piece added to that event permit form so that there's not a bunch of different event permit forms floating around.
Okay.
That special event would be added to that.
So is the special event something new, or is it just used on the same event form? Like, what constitutes a regular event permit form and a special event
I know
permit
one of the
form?
things that we discussed was the issue with having to clean up after a big event sometimes when the organizer doesn't clean up
That would be a special
after the
event.
event. So that's, a big event where there's a food truck wants to park in front of a business and the business puts an event permit. That's not a special event, but like something big like Latino Fest or the St. Willen Fest or things like that, where we're bringing, sometimes we drop off fencing, we drop off barricades, we do some of those things. And there's potential that afterwards, if they don't clean up, then we're gonna be responsible for the cleanup.
But there's
But like
not
on
any-
private property, we're not going to be ever responsible, because what we're going to end up doing if it's left a mess, we're going to just turn to zoning, and it's going to be more of an issue of the property owner cleaning the trash up.
But there's not any clear guidelines of what constitutes a special event opposed to just an event. Because the mayor had mentioned, I think at the mayor had mentioned maybe at the first reading of this ordinance that a special event is when roads need to be closed. Is that the only clarifying reason for a special event, or is it roads need to be closed and or if you anticipate a lot of extra trash that needs to be picked up?
Yeah, I think that's,
Is it just those two things in particular? Because the private property, yeah, you don't have to worry about the cleanup. So why is there a section for a special event for private property?
yeah.
Is it the roads?
good
Is that
question.
what's the determining factor?
Yeah, if we end up having to close some things off, but yeah, mostly that, I think the idea behind that was for those bigger events where we know there's going to be a lot of people there. There's going to be a lot of, maybe more than one food unit at that event.
And I get
There's gonna be a
that. I
lot of
just
extra
wish it was
trash,
like in writing
more of the
somewhere.
definition of it.
And then the other question that I have concerning this amendment was the section E, where it states in all instances, the compliance officer shall have authority to remove the food unit. I read it sort of as a catch-all at the end of the ordinance, like if all of this stuff, this is like a catch-all in case, but I don't really necessarily understand what it means. Can you explain to me what that section E means?
Basically, if it's deemed that it's a safety concern, then we have that authority as a city to shut them down.
But there's no guidelines for what constitutes a safety concern. That would be at the compliance officer's discretion.
And I think it probably more has to do with them not meeting the all the permitting parts of it. Because
Right.
part of the reason moving it from the safety,
Kind of how I read it. Like if you didn't meet any of these requirements, then the authority goes to the compliance officer.
yeah, because part of the reason of moving the whole thing from the service director's office down to the compliance office is because he already currently has a database for like contractors permits and that kind of thing, so that we can make sure that we don't end up permitting contractors that have done something for that put our public in danger in any way. Plus Jeff, as a compliance officer, is not only a compliance officer, but he is a certified fire inspector.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving that down into the compliance office just seemed to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I think that means if the unit doesn't meet any of those qualifications that we put in there, which is that health department inspection, the fire inspection, and don't pass the fire inspection, and the other pieces of it, then that unit won't be allowed to operate in Fostoria. And that's all about, it's not only, I mean, it's a public safety issue. We don't want people getting sick on, something that hasn't been inspected, but there's another piece of it too. And I think we found that by just casually looking at some of the trucks. I think there's a lot of things that happen. You can store your propane tanks inside the cab of your truck or your unit while you're making food, and the place can blow up. I mean, there's a lot of issues that maybe folks don't even realize, and they need that fire extinguisher to be up to date. So it's not only looking out for the public when it comes to not getting sick on what they're eating, but also the people that are operating food trucks. It's their safety as well. You know, we don't want.
But that would be caught during the fire.
You would hope so, yeah, but I don't know if that's what means that.
And that last
I guess
section
what,
E
what
sentence.
if they had it at the time they got a fire inspection, but then at the time
They
that
came
they're
out with
actually
that, right?
operating, that we find that they are not still in compliance. So that would kind of be the catch-all.
The only thing I wish that the special event permit had more specific guidelines to what constitutes the special event permit.
Amy, I did speak with Jeff about that a little bit, and we kind of discussed on that application, on that permit application itself,
Right.
that he was kind of come up with a definition and include that on that paper.
I would love to see
So
that.
there
I
there
think
was
that's
going to be,
important.
yeah, I think he was kind of waiting for all of this to go through, hear the discussion, and then he was going to be working on kind of revamping all of those permit applications.
And I think my thought process kind of goes back to what Councilperson Podek said at the last meeting, which is like, let's not tweak it after the fact. Let's get it all right the first time. And I personally would like to see the guidelines for the special event permit prior to passing this.
Table it till next time and come in with the language.
I don't know if the rest of council agrees with tabling it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we need to move to do so?
They have a motion to do that.
I'll move to table this.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to table by Mendoza, a second by Lehman. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Baker,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Lake,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Cassidy.
Yes.
Is that everybody? Okay, it has been tabled. Move to the next one.
Did I include Baker?
Did you ask for Baker?
Baker.
Did you vote on that, Bob, Tom?
Tom did, yeah.
Okay. An ordinance to authorize, direct, and empower the mayor or director of public service and safety to terminate the plan of operation and governance of the NOPEC natural gas aggregation program and to leave the NOPEC natural gas program and declare an emergency to exist.
That is the second reading of that ordinance. Move into new business.
A resolution adopting and amending ordinance number 2023-66, permanent 2024 appropriations by appropriating from unappropriated funds in the general fund.
Move to suspend the three reading rule on three separate occasions.
Second.
We have a motion by Lehman, a second by Cassidy to suspend the three reading rule on three separate occasions. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mendoza,
Yes.
Lake,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
The three reading rule has been waived.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Who had a second on that? Okay. We have a motion by Lake, a second by Hall to adopt. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Lake,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Mendoza.
Yes.
That becomes resolution number 2024-44. Is there any need to go into executive session this evening? All right, we'll go into miscellaneous for you all to have an opportunity to discuss the, what you would like to do with the clerk of council's job description.
Mr. President, can I ask, is an evaluation done for this position like other positions within the city?
Currently, I don't believe there's any language for evaluation.
And the reason I ask that is if you were to do an evaluation, the draft that you presented us would give you better criteria from which to conduct an evaluation.
Currently, the positions is hired by council. It's a position that can be terminated by council. So it could be any given meeting, it'd just be a motion, second, a vote. Hopefully there'd be a little bit more of a process than that. We wouldn't want to blindside anybody.
Correct, which is why an evaluation would be
Certainly
appropriate.
correct.
I thought the draft job description you presented us was good, was robust. I had a couple observations if we decide to go this route that I would just like to make. Under the qualifications, the section that says strong communication skills, I would make sure I add both oral and written. And then I would also add proficient in clerical functions such as Microsoft Word and the use of office machines. Those are basic qualifications that any candidate should have. And then I'd like to introduce an idea under duties and responsibilities. As a new council person, I'll only speak for myself, maybe some others would care to weigh in, but I think it would be beneficial if the clerk would provide new council members with orientation, including training and direction with regard to the legislative process, codified ordinances, and public records open meeting laws. It could be nothing more than a binder. You know, maybe with the input of council, it could be created. But I believe that as a new council person, some of the frustrations could be avoided if we had such a tool available.
I concur with that suggestion. I'm
And I'll
not sure
get
we
with-
want to work on it tonight, but I think it's something that ought to be thought out. I think that especially new council people, give them a little idea of how things are handled, procedures. I would find them very healthy if everybody on council, whether you've been here a while or you just got on, prepare a list of issues or questions that probably ought to be in a manual or handbook on the basics. With the matter at hand, I had a couple minor suggestions. Under job purpose, second paragraph, and it says attends all council meetings. I would insert work sessions and keep a record of all proceedings, etc. But I would add that in there. Make it perfectly clear work sessions are identified specifically as part of it.
Does anyone have any objections to the suggestions that I've made so far? Because I will get with Councilperson Lehman for the language, because it was a lot to write. So I want to make sure I get a draft that's able. Any other suggestions? Anything that's glaring that needs to be removed? And then do you want this to be a proposed job description that would be like a resolution that would be in addition to everything we already have? Or is it something that you think we need to revamp the codified ordinances to reflect this work? Either way is doable. Because I think that the letter of the law is in this job description. It adds to the letter and adds some more of the spirit of what the law is. So I think our ordinances are probably good enough and complete. This just clarifies some of those things for that clerk position.
I think this helps not only the current clerk understand, it's a tool for her to understand what the expectations are. But then if you should ever have to replace, go looking, this is what you need to find the right candidate.
So I will get with the people that had suggestions. I will revise this document. I will ask the law director to make a resolution for the next council meeting with the revisions to this. So. And if there's no other discussion, I would entertain any other miscellaneous business. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mendoza, a second by Lake to adjourn. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Lehman,
Yes.
Cassidy,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Mendoza,
Yes.
Lake.
All right. We are adjourned at 6:58.